When we went to Jordan, we couldn't believe the miracles that occurred. This is Dr. Hamdi Murad, one of the highest Islamic scholars in Jordan. When he met the ambassadors for peace through Dr. Bundakci from Garden Grove, California, his heart just was so moved. He'd been looking for some way to deal with the extreme Muslims. He'd been looking for some way to show that the Western world is not all militarily oriented. And he found us. And he was so moved. Here he is with a Jewish member of the Likud party who came over to Jordan for this conference. And all ambassadors for peace have this incredible ability to bring together enemies and bring peace. Dr. Walter Fontroy, noted civil rights leader, is also one of our leaders of the Ambassador for Peace. He came with us to Jordan, and here's a special individual. From this conference, when we went there, one general came. And you never know when you have this meeting tonight. You never know who's here and who's going to be transformed tonight. Some of you maybe have attended past events and thought, well, I like this, but, you know, I don't really see my place yet. Some of you tonight will see your place. That's what happened with General Mansour. General Mansour had been watching this movement from afar. This day he came, and he could feel the spirit of the Ambassadors for Peace. And he joined, and he became a leader. We didn't know. He was already the person that negotiated the peace treaty between Jordan and Israel. Egypt and Jordan were the first two to come into a normalizing relationships with Israel. It really made an incredible history. Jordan is the #1 ally of America. We didn't know General Murad was the chief of military intelligence before he became the leader of the peace movement in Jordan. And we were in a stadium in Korea at an international conference, and also delegations came with Reverend Jackson for a rededication of marriage in Korea, and we didn't know that his niece is Wafa. We're standing in the stadium, and Wafa heard this voice and thought it was her father's voice, and it turned out that it's this gentleman on your right here, General Mansour. It's her uncle. They're standing in a stadium in Korea. One came for an international peace conference. The other came for a delegation of rededication of marriage. Where's Wafa right now? Give her a hand. When we continue to meet and deliberate, there's no way that the walls will remain. And we have ambassadors for peace that are so courageous that we know that there's a way to open the door. That's why we met Shimon Peres on numerous occasions. We're seeking to meet the Jewish leaders, the Christian leaders, the Muslim leaders, the political leaders on all sides. That's why also we met President Arafat many times. Many said, don't meet him, you can't meet him. You have to meet everybody. You're an ambassador for peace. President Arafat needs the principles of peace, right? So does Shimon Peres. All of them. That's why there are no walls or barriers when we march together. Last November, we went to Jordan, the Ambassadors for Peace. You remember the bombing that occurred in Jordan that was so shocking at the wedding? It was at the Radisson Hotel, and then also at the Days Inn and the Hyatt. And we came there as Ambassadors for Peace, and we signed the wall of condolences. This has really made huge front-page news in Jordan, because an American delegation of Jews, Christians, and Muslims came to Jordan. And they were moved to show our support for the people of Jordan and stand solidly against violence and evil. Therefore, we gathered our ambassadors for peace together, and a thing happened that couldn't be imagined. Dr. Murad and General Mansour, because of their influence, worked it out in 3 hours that our delegation, they closed down one major thoroughfare in Jordan, and we marched down the streets of Jordan for peace. Isn't that amazing? When all of the major networks, Al Jazeera and everything, Father Hatoun prayed, Reverend Fontroy prayed. Reverend Fontroy really brought the spirit of the civil rights movement. He was Dr. King's chief of staff, and he was the organizer for Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech on the Lincoln Memorial in 1963. Dr. Fontroy is with us. Therefore, that kind of God is calling his ambassadors together. God is calling the people. We're not ambassadors that just talk and have seminars. We march for peace. When you go to the place that's most difficult and you bring love, somehow it can change the whole state and the whole nation. Let's go to the place where there's the most conflict and struggle. And we march together. We show our strength of love. We don't just talk about it. We want to march for peace. Amen? Therefore, young people coming together and marching is so beautiful. And then we have conferences to strengthen our understanding. And through this conference process, Congressman Nielsen came from America. All kinds of breakthroughs occur. Ambassador Sam Zakhem, the U.S. ambassador to Bahrain, became an ambassador for peace. And this is the prince of the royal family, Prince Rod. He came and signed the Jordan Declaration with us. And then all kinds of doors open. Now, Father Moon, based on this inspiration, now wants to place the main peace embassy for the Middle East in Jordan. And he's just committed, and we gathered a delegation last January 7th, and we're going to establish the Worldwide Ambassador for Peace Embassy all over the world in many countries, but we're going to establish it now for the Middle East in Jordan. Jordan is going to be the launching pad for peace.